What is this cafeteria woman trying to say? The elderly woman who worked in the cafeteria was made fun of by our president, Jack Taylor, and the department head, Julie Taylor, who had come for a factory inspection. In actuality, you've been doing anything you want. You cannot claim that you have forgotten my face. The old woman removed her headscarf and spoke authoritatively as she addressed the two of them. It was a former president's dignity. The time has arrived to stop the father and daughter from being abused. The several instances of misconduct were revealed at a board meeting. It was determined that Julie would be fired for disciplinary reasons and Jack would be dismissed. The next president was named Lucas. The route to an unanticipated happiness was what had once appeared to be an unjustified demotion. Lucas York is my name. This year, I turned 33. For the first 3 years after joining, I performed a lot of menial work in the General Affairs Department at the headquarters of a company that manufactures precise equipment. But as I accumulated experience, I began to take on increasingly significant tasks, such as maintaining contracts, negotiating contracts, and getting ready for shareholder meetings. I was elevated to deputy department head last year. I can see myself becoming a department head if everything continues to go well. Although I've been concentrating on my profession, I met a woman 2 years ago, and we began dating after a buddy introduced us. We are thinking about getting married and have a relationship where we both understand each other's work. It was during the annual personnel change period that I was summoned to the president's office. Julie, the female director of the General Affairs Department, was also there when I walked in. Lucas has consistently exceeded our expectations with his work. Yes, in fact, your efforts are deserving of praise. Jack has only one daughter, Julie. She began working for the company 3 years ago, and after only 2 years in the General Affairs Department, she was elevated to department head. She rarely works and is the first person to leave the workplace after work is finished. During business hours, she is frequently spotted using her phone. However, no one has been able to speak to her, because she is the president's daughter. I've been taking up her incomplete responsibilities and making up for her errors ever since I was hired. It was never done out of selfishness, but rather for the benefit of the business. You've been on my mind. Do you want to accompany me out? I assumed I was being brought in to talk about my job. I was taken aback by the abrupt admission, so I was careful to say no. I'm really sorry, but I have an important girlfriend. Julie's gaze, which had been filled with smiles only minutes before, now became icy. Are you even aware of my identity? I am the daughter of the president. Your future as president is assured if you wed me. I believe promotions should be earned through merit. After these words, Julie stormed out of the room in a fit of rage. Jack lightly nodded his head toward me, signaling me to leave. At that time, I had no idea that this would be the turning point of my fate. From that day on, Julie completely changed her attitude and began treating me coldly. However, my daily life in the General Affairs Department remained as busy as ever. Despite the overt harassment from Julie, I had no choice but to quietly get through my work. Julie began pointing out even the smallest mistakes I made and scolding me loudly. Lucas, the date on this contract is 1 day off. Do you plan on ruining the company's reputation with such a basic mistake? It had been my responsibility to manage contracts since my early days as a new hire, but suddenly, I was ordered to review all the contracts with a strict deadline. The extra work added to my regular duties stretched well into the night. Julie, I finished reviewing the contracts. Well, that's late. It's already past closing time. Why did it take you so long? The window outside was already dark, and the lights in the department were barely on. And this checklist. Why aren't you using the format I specified? Do it all over again. But Julie, this is the format you approved yesterday. What? I don't remember approving that. Are you calling me a liar? Realizing that excuses wouldn't work, I silently took the materials back. The next day, I was up all night working again, but Julie was still dissatisfied. This is totally unacceptable. Come in first thing tomorrow morning and redo it. Once again, I ended up staying late at the office. With my late hours at work, I had to cancel plans with my girlfriend multiple times. I'm sorry. Looks like I'll be working late again today. It's okay. Hey, just focus on your work. I could sense the loneliness behind her kind words, but for now, I had no choice but to focus on my work. One day, I was put in charge of preparing for the contract renewal with a major client. I carefully prepared the documents, drawing on my past experience. This is an insult to the client. The documents were thrown onto my desk. I can't trust you with this contract renewal. I'll handle it directly. Hand over all the documents. Julie, I've been in charge of this project up until now. Honestly, you're not cut out for this. I've already discussed it with the president. In the end, the long-time projects I had been handling were taken away from me, and instead, I was burdened with the department's menial tasks, copying, sorting documents, even fetching tea. Despite my position as deputy department head, I was treated worse than a new hire. And then came the final blow, a sudden summons. When I entered the president's office, both Jack and Julie were waiting for me with stern expressions. I called you in because I need to talk to you. Recently, there was a harassment complaint. Harassment. A female employee claimed that you touched her inappropriately. There's no way I would do something like that. I was speechless at this completely baseless accusation. There's evidence. The security cameras clearly show it. That's not possible. We have irrefutable proof. There's no way to talk your way out of this. Normally, this would lead to immediate dismissal, but considering your long years of service, we'll give you a lighter penalty. Starting tomorrow, you'll be transferred to the factory in the east. I was told of the sudden demotion with no chance to protest. Later, I would find out that this false accusation was orchestrated by Julie. The security camera footage was also fabricated by her. Lucas, next time, make a wiser decision. Turning me down was foolish. These were her parting words on the day I was demoted to the factory. Anger welled up inside me at this unfair treatment, but I knew that getting emotional wouldn't change anything. I clenched my fists and silently accepted the demotion. 2 weeks had passed since I was transferred to the factory. The work I was assigned was mostly simple office tasks, but I tried to find meaning in it. Are you the new guy? What's your name? It was around this time that I was approached by an elderly woman in the cafeteria. She must have been quite old, but she was so lively that calling her grandma felt unnatural. I don't know who started calling her that, but her name was Nancy, and everyone referred to her as Mom. My name's Lucas. I was assigned here today. Lucas, you've got to eat a lot, okay? Young guys like you need energy. With that, she served me a large helping of food. While working efficiently, Nancy always greeted the employees with a warm smile. The main tasks in the factory office were answering phones, ordering supplies, entering data, and managing documents. All simpler than the work I did at headquarters, but I understood they played an important role in supporting the factory's production lines. How's the work going? It's a bit of a rural place, but it's a nice one, right? Every day at the cafeteria, Nancy would casually chat with me. Her kindness made me gradually open up. 2 months after being demoted, a new employee was assigned to take over for a woman going on maternity leave. My name is Lily. It's a pleasure to meet you. Lily, who greeted me with a soft demeanor, seemed like a truly wonderful person from the start. Lily asked me to show her around the factory, and I agreed to take her on a tour. This is amazing. Little parts are being assembled one after another, turning into a finished product. Lily's eyes sparkled as she watched the conveyor belt in the work area. Do you like factories? Yes, watching small parts come together to form a big product is really exciting. Her pure passion made me rethink my approach to work. I had started to find new meaning in the simple tasks I once thought of as mundane. You've been looking a lot better lately. Really? Must be thanks to Lily. That girl's hardworking and a good kid. Nancy's words made me smile. Without realizing it, it was true. Lily's presence had added color to my life at the factory. One day, Lily approached me. Lucas, I think we can make the inventory management system more efficient. Her suggestion was spot on, and I used my experience from headquarters to work with her on improving the system. Through this process, I found myself recalling my former self and her earnest attitude toward work. Lucas, Lily, you two are doing a great job. The new system we created together greatly improved the overall efficiency of the factory. Word of our success even reached headquarters. Thank you, Mom. For what? For giving me hope. What had started as a demotion to the factory had now opened up new possibilities for me. It was thanks to my meeting with Lily and Nancy's encouragement. On a sunny, gentle morning off, I was taking a walk with Lily in the nearby park. Our relationship had grown a bit closer, and we had started spending our days off like this, just relaxing together. There was a small shopping street in the town next to the factory, always bustling with locals on weekends. Lucas, that bakery over there looks good. Yeah, it does. Maybe we'll buy something during our break next time. Sounds good. I want to recommend it to Mom too. In casual conversations like this, the topic of Nancy would always come up, without either of us intending to bring it up. That's how important Nancy was to both of us. Life at the factory was fulfilling. The inventory management system that Lily and I improved was adopted by other factories, receiving high praise from headquarters. On my way home from working a weekend shift, I ran into Lily at the grocery store. As we were talking, I heard a familiar voice. You two out on a date today? We turned to see Nancy smiling at us, holding a shopping basket. Mom. No, it's just a coincidence today. Doing some shopping? Yeah, just picking up ingredients for tomorrow's prep. After chatting for a while, we said our goodbyes to Nancy. Then Lily spoke up. Mom's always so kind. Yeah, she's like everyone's mom. You and Mom, it's like you're really her son. It feels so natural. Those words made me stop in my tracks. The truth was, I had lost my own mother when I was very young. When Lily learned this, she looked apologetic, but I smiled and shook my head. No, maybe you're right, I muttered. That and we parted ways for the day. One afternoon, on a day off, we were walking along the riverbank in a place far from the noise of the factory. We talked about work and our dreams for the future. I used to work at a different factory, but it went bankrupt. That must have been tough. Yeah, but I'm really glad I got to work here. Her smile made me naturally smile back. What had started as a demotion to the factory now felt like something I should be grateful for. Did you make this curry, Lily? It's delicious. While eating the curry that Lily had made, Nancy smiled kindly. Thank you. It's a recipe Lucas taught me. No, it's definitely better than mine. As the conversation between the three of us flowed, I felt a sense of happiness. Right now, the environment I was in was more fulfilling than the position or power I had at the headquarters. At dusk, the sunset visible from the factory's rooftop was beautiful. Lucas, this view is amazing. Yeah, the factory bathed in the sunset is quite a sight. As we stood there, the two of us watched the town turn golden in the setting sun. I wished this moment could last forever. But just as I thought that, something unexpected happened. We received sudden notice of a surprise inspection from headquarters. The news of the inspection brought tension to the entire factory, and this time, Julie would be joining the visit as well. I was tasked with showing the factory to the visiting party. When I greeted the president and his group at the factory's front entrance, Julie's cold gaze pierced through me. Oh, you're still here? I thought you'd quit by now. He, in charge of the factory's office work, scoffed. It doesn't seem like you've learned your lesson." It seemed like both she and the president still held a grudge against me. I kept my composure as best as I could, guiding Jack and Julie while explaining the current state of the factory. As we were discussing the improvements in inventory management and work processes, Julie suddenly interrupted. "Are you sure trying something so ambitious at a rural factory won't just lower efficiency?" "No. Actually, productivity has improved by 20%. "Oh, well, it's not good to deceive with numbers." It seemed Julie was just looking for flaws. I corrected each of her criticisms one by one. Finally, I took them to the employee cafeteria, where Nancy greeted us with a smile. However, Julie looked around the cafeteria with a sneer. "What an old-fashioned cafeteria. Are you sure the hygiene management is up to par?" Lily offered the menu to Julie, but she didn't even try to take it. "I can't eat in a place like this. Dad, let's go to a fancy restaurant nearby." "Yeah, the food here probably doesn't suit our tastes." The employees, taken aback by Jack and Julie's rude behavior, couldn't hide their discomfort. Without caring about the atmosphere, the two of them quickly left the cafeteria. As they were about to leave, Julie whispered in my ear, "Even though you were demoted because of harassment, should I let everyone know your true nature?" She then stopped in front of Lily and gave her a look from head to toe. "Are you a new employee? You better be careful. This guy has a habit of making advances on women. Lucas isn't like that." "Oh, have you already been tamed? How pitiful." Julie laughed loudly, and Jack covered his mouth, trying to hold back his own laughter. The two of them left the factory. Left behind in the heavy atmosphere, we silently returned to our work. That evening, I was called to the factory manager's office. "There's been a directive from headquarters. We need to revert the inventory management system to the previous method. But the efficiency is clearly better. I'm sorry, but this is an order from above." Julie's cruel treatment didn't end there. For the reason that the factory's expenses were higher than necessary, the budget was drastically cut. Additionally, due to an unfair performance evaluation, the factory employees' bonuses were also reduced. "Lucas, don't worry about it. But this happened because of me. I'm so sorry for causing trouble for everyone. This isn't your fault. That father and daughter haven't changed a bit." Nancy's words seemed to carry some deeper meaning, but at the time, I just took them as words of comfort. A week after Julie's inspection, we received new instructions from headquarters. A team would be sent to scrutinize the factory's operations, and Julie was appointed as the person in charge. On the first day of the audit, Julie demanded a large number of documents. "I need the past 3 years' worth of expense reports, inventory management tables, and work logs. All of them." "Oh, okay. I'll get them ready. I need them first thing tomorrow morning, and make sure you include detailed explanations for each one." Her requests seemed impossible, but with Lily's help, we stayed up all night preparing the materials. However, when we submitted the documents, they were all sent back. "This is completely unclear. You need to make it more understandable." "But Julie, if we add more details..." "Oh, the new employee is speaking up. I'll find you a more appropriate job." From that day on, Lily was assigned to inventory checks in the warehouse. Working in the uncooled warehouse with heavy labor was too much for someone in her office job. "Lily, let me take over." "No, it's okay. This is part of the job." As I watched Lily working hard, wiping away sweat, my chest tightened. I needed to help Lily, I thought, but I couldn't come up with a good way to do it. In the meantime, Julie presented even more demands. She ordered that all factory supplies be re-inspected and that the usage history and future usage plans be submitted by the day after tomorrow. "Julie, this deadline is..." "Can't you do it?" "Then I'll have no choice but to report to headquarters that there are problems with the factory's management system." With Julie's unyielding attitude, I had no choice but to continue working in silence. Around that time, unsettling rumors began to spread among the factory workers. There was talk that the factory might be shut down. Lucas, you need to be careful. Don't overdo it. I'm fine. I'll manage somehow. Lily, you should rest too. But neither of them had any time to rest. Julie's demands increased day by day. I wonder if this factory is really necessary. It's such a waste of labor costs. Her words seemed to hint at the possibility of the factory being shut down. The employees' anxiety only grew. Amidst this, a new blow came. Dad, isn't it dangerous to leave a habitual harassment offender in the factory? Yeah, we should move Lucas to another place. The suggestion of further demotion made me feel hopeless. But just then, Nancy stood up. What do you think you're doing? Oh? Are you the cafeteria lady trying to say something? It looks like you've been doing whatever you want. Her voice had a level of authority I had never heard before. Nancy took off her apron and turned to face Julie. I won't let you forget my face. In that moment, Julie's face turned pale. Jack also had a look on his face as if he had seen a ghost. A tense atmosphere filled the cafeteria. Nancy's voice was clear, different from usual. I made the mistake of trusting you, the former executive, and handing over the president's position. No. Why are you here? Jack's face was ashen, and he was trembling. Ignoring Jack, Nancy turned back to face Julie. You've certainly been doing whatever you want, haven't you? I've received a report from someone trustworthy at headquarters who's investigated you. What do you mean? Dad, say something. Julie seemed unable to grasp the situation, shaking Jack's shoulder. But Jack remained silent, sweating profusely. Nancy, having removed her bandage, stood with an air of authority. The factory manager rushed over. I'm so sorry. I was told to keep quiet about this matter, even to you, the former president. Former president? Those words caused a stir in the cafeteria. I couldn't follow the conversation unfolding in front of me. Nancy was the former president? I can't believe it. While I was still processing this, the conversation kept moving forward. I'm calling a board meeting tomorrow at headquarters. You? I don't know who you think you are. Former president or whatever, but you don't have the authority to do that. Julie seemed desperate to regain control of the situation, but Nancy remained completely unshaken. The title of chairman is there for moments like this. With those words, Nancy pulled out a stack of documents. The documents contained evidence of Jack and Julie's wrongdoing, pressure on human resources, improper budget allocations, creating false harassment accusations. I have all the evidence. You've tormented the factory workers, driven out capable employees, and tried to make things go your way. Using the company for personal gain is something that will never be tolerated. Wait, please. Let's talk this over. It's too late. Letting you two run the company was my mistake. In front of the suddenly revealed former president, the president and his daughter stood there, powerless. Lucas, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag you into this. No, I'm just surprised. I didn't know you were the former president, and I've been talking to you like we were friends. I'm just the cafeteria mom. But thanks to that, I've seen the true nature of this company. I've also come to understand the feelings of the people working at this factory. Nancy smiled gently and gave me a light pat on the shoulder. The next day, an emergency board meeting was held under Nancy's command. The misconduct of Jack and Julie was revealed one by one. This company stands because of the efforts of each and every employee. A management that tramples on that is not needed. The board members couldn't go against Nancy's authority. By resolution, we've decided to dismiss Jack and dismiss Julie for misconduct. The downfall of the president and his daughter was decided in an instant. And for the new president, I would like to nominate Lucas. The sudden nomination left me at a loss for words. I believe you're the one who can lead this company in the right direction. Knowing the history, the board members had no objections, In fact, there seemed to be growing expectations for the new leadership. The day after the emergency board meeting, under Nancy's order, an all-employee meeting was held in the large conference room. The employees gathered, and Nancy stood on the stage. "I have an important announcement for all of you. Yesterday at the board meeting, we decided to dismiss Jack and fire Julie for misconduct." As the room buzzed with chatter, Nancy continued, "Also, we've decided to appoint Lucas as the new president." The sudden personnel change caused a ripple of shock among the employees. "I will support the new president as chairman. However, this is a transitional measure. I want to entrust the future of this company to the younger generation." Called up to the stage, I nervously began speaking as I faced the crowd. I was previously demoted to this factory for unjust reasons. However, working here, I learned the true value of manufacturing. The room went completely silent. At this factory, every single part is carefully assembled to become a reliable product. That process contains the sincere efforts of every employee. Lily, sitting in the front row, nodded quietly. "I want to build this company just like a product, piece by piece, with care, with all of your help." As I finished my speech, there was a huge round of applause from the audience. "Now, there's another important announcement," Nancy revealed. She exposed the various wrongdoings orchestrated by Julie. Unjust personnel decisions, the private embezzlement of the budget, and the false harassment accusation against me. The full truth was presented with evidence. "These actions are a grave betrayal to the company. We are considering legal action." Anger could be heard from the employees, but Nancy continued, "But this is not the end. In fact, it's a new beginning." True to her words, the company began to change drastically. The inventory management system that had proven successful in the factory was rolled out company-wide, and operational efficiency skyrocketed. The unfairly reduced bonuses were also brought back to the proper level. "Lucas, congratulations." "Thank you. It's because of you that I realized the value of this factory." "Well then, we've got a mountain of work to do. Let's get started." Nancy, who had supported me in my role as president for a while, said, "You're good now," and returned to work as the cafeteria mom. She kept the title of chairman, but continued to listen to the voices from the ground. Thus, the story that began with an unjust emotion entered a new chapter. 3 months after the transition to the new system, one holiday morning, Lily and I were looking for a new place to live. Having moved to the headquarters, we decided to find somewhere with a better commute. "How about this apartment? It's really nice. I think we'll be able to see the sunrise from the balcony." While touring the apartment, we couldn't help but feel excited about our new life together. In fact, just recently, I had confessed my feelings to Lily and proposed to her. Today, Nancy was once again smiling and chatting with the employees. "Are the wedding preparations going well?" "Yes, we're working on it together. I'd really love for you to attend the wedding." "Of course, but on that day, I'm not wearing the headscarf." We all laughed together. The fact that such a normal, happy daily life had become our reality was the most fulfilling thing. "For our wedding, we'd like to ask you to sit at the same table as my parents." "Me? Are you sure?" "Yes, to us, you're like real family." "Thank you. I also think of you two as my own children." Her words brought warmth to my heart. I never imagined that the demotion I once faced would bring me such happiness. "All right, Lucas. From now on, I'm leaving everything to you," she said. At those words from Nancy as the chairman, I straightened my back. 6 months ago, I was appointed as the new president, but I had to wait for the ceremony to confidently stand before everyone. Finally, the day of my appointment ceremony arrived. 6 months after the dismissal of the Taylor family, the company had successfully turned things around. Thus, the story that began with a demotion was now entering a new chapter. The setbacks I had faced in the past had now become valuable lessons. By continuing to move forward, unexpected happiness awaited me. It was truly a story that taught me the wonders of life. The wrongdoings of the Taylor family were reported to the police through a forced investigation. A series of large-scale embezzlements and illegal fund transfers were uncovered. Julie, after being ousted from the company, started looking for another job. But the bad reputation from her previous position spread, and she faced rejection from every company. Clinging to the image of once being an executive at a prestigious company, her savings ran out, and she was forced to move from her apartment to a cheap one. Evidence was found that Jack had been complicit in Julie's embezzlement, and he was arrested. During the interrogation, past wrongdoings were also uncovered. He was now in a situation where prison time was inevitable. After her father's arrest, Julie was abandoned by her relatives and fell into complete isolation. Her former arrogant attitude turned out to be her downfall, as no one was there to offer her help. The court issued a summary order demanding a large sum of compensation to be paid. Having lost all social credibility and being financially cornered, Julie now made a living through day labor part-time jobs. She was now forced to work in an even harsher environment than the factory workers she had once looked down on. At the end of her fall, Julie realized her mistakes. Her arrogant personality and distorted values had led to her own ruin. 6 months had passed since I became president. The business reforms at headquarters were steadily progressing, and employee morale was rising. Lily, are you going to make something special for dinner this weekend? Of course. It's your birthday, Lucas. Lily had transferred to the General Affairs Department at headquarters and had become the perfect partner, both in work and at home. Should we invite Mom too? It's such a special occasion. Yes, I'm sure she'll be really happy to come. Nancy, the cafeteria mom, was still working in the cafeteria. Though she kept her title as chairman, it seemed that she truly enjoyed supporting the employees up close in her role. Kids need to eat a lot. Here, eat some more. Mom, we're thinking of having a dinner party this Saturday at our place. Oh, that sounds lovely. Should I cook for you? The same lively voices could still be heard in the employee cafeteria, continuing to protect and nurture the company, which Nancy loved like her own child, helping it grow. That was my mission and my pride.